Elsewhere, Vast is preparing for liftoff with a commercial space station that its CEO says could result in people living and working in space permanently. Its CEO, Max Hott, spoke to our Ashley Mastronardi about what Vast is working towards. Let's take a listen.
So we are a space station builder. We want to be the company that creates the world's first commercial space station, Haven 1 launching next year, and then to have the chance to succeed and build a successor to the International Space Station for NASA. So, in a quick summary, we want to be the best builder in the world, in the universe, of any human habitat in space. That includes space station and habitat on Mars and Moon.
You mentioned Haven 1, Max. What is Haven 1 and what role does it play in your broader vision of humans living and working in space?
So no one has ever built a commercial space station. The current space station is incredible. It had permanent humans for 25 years, and it's been safe. But what it is not is low cost. It's not sustainable. It's one of the most expensive or the most expensive object ever built by humanity, about 150 billion for a single object. And so what we need a transition to commercial that is sustainable and lowers the cost of space stations so that they can be there sustainable and save taxpayer money. The Vast approach that's unique is that we don't think we should have a station that replaces the ISS in the first go. We need stepping stone. So our first stepping stone is our demo satellite. You can actually see a picture from it taken a few days ago. This is our control room where our operators are managing our demonstration satellite, which is everything that the space station will have, excluding the human element, so the cabin and the life support system. So that allows us to de-risk our technologies. And then Haven 1, as you ask, is our first space station. It's a single module space station launching next year on a SpaceX rocket. And then a crew of 4 on a SpaceX Dragon spacecraft will visit it for 2 weeks or more as early of next year. And so that will be the first time there's a new space station for America in addition to the ISS. And it will be the first time any commercial company has created a space station.
And how are you preparing for Haven 1? I understand that you ran a test. Can you tell us more about that?
So, well, obviously the demonstration satellite was the first thing, but that's now in orbit. And at the same time, we've been designing and building the Haven 1 design and the facilities and the actual spacecraft that will go to space next year. So we just completed building the primary structure. That's the hull that basically the crew is inside in metal. And what's unique about us is we do it in-house in America in a speed of about 6 months, when some of our competitors are buying it from third party in Europe, and historically takes years. So we do it at a much lower cost, vertically integrated, and we finished it and we've acceptance tested it for Haven 1. The next step is we do the integration. So that's when our technician in the clean room are integrating all the pieces inside and outside before we can launch it from the Cape on a rocket, on a SpaceX rocket next year.
All right. And that leads into my next question. You talked about what differentiates you from your competitors. Can you elaborate on that?
The first thing that differentiates us is out of our competitors, we are the only one that have operated their own spacecraft in space. That's our demo satellite. So that's already a big differentiator. It's not yet a space station, but it de-risks a lot of the technologies that we need in the space station: propulsion, avionics, ground control, ground software, flight software, and so on. The other differentiator is that we are building and launching everyone next year. I think we are years ahead of our competition. We'll see in reality like how that fares out. And we are doing it in a very vertically integrated way. And so that's unique. We are not waiting to win the NASA contract to go ahead. We're ahead, and we'll be demonstrating to NASA and the world that we have the world's first commercial space station as early as next year.
And what purpose do commercial space stations serve?
So there are 2 reasons why astronauts go to space. So the first one is to advance the technologies and the medical learning of sending humans to space. If we're going to Mars and to the Moon, the first trip for these astronauts cannot be Mars or the Moon. They need to train, they need to get experience. And where we put the International Space Station, or our space station, is called low Earth orbit. It's sort of the quickest, lowest cost version of space that you can access. So whether it's learning how the body evolves when you stay in long duration in space, or doing experiment of technologies such as spacesuits or life support system, that's one of the reasons. The other reason is to make life better on Earth, and that's through research, especially in the medical field, that can benefit from the microgravity environment, the fact that there is no gravity. And so there are early research already happening today on the ISS, and there are hope that we'll be able to improve drugs that are made on Earth, or even make new drugs that cannot be made on Earth, and that could fix a disease for the Earth. So these are the two main activities. The other reason is that, China, right now we have been there for 25 years as the United States and with our partner. And, in the last few years, China now has a permanent space station there. So we have to retire the ISS in 2030. And if we don't have a commercial replacement, we run the risk of being left out completely of all of that research in microgravity, all of these breakthrough that could happen, something that China could be doing with their partners, and something that the US and our partners would be left behind. So it's clearly not acceptable. And, the administration, as well as obviously Congress and Senate, all believe that it's imperative that we continue to have American presence permanently in low Earth orbit. And that means that by the time the ISS is retired in 2030, we or one of our competitors or multiple of us need to succeed and have a sustainable, lower cost commercial replacement.
And Max, you mentioned low Earth orbit a few times. What is it and how will Haven 1 impact it?
Well, low Earth orbit is basically the first kind of definition of space. And so what it means is that you are, above 100 miles of the Earth's surface, but you're going at a speed where you go around the Earth every 90 minutes. Our satellite right now is doing that. And that means that the satellite doesn't re-enter. It stays there. You can turn off the engines and it stays there, sort of indefinitely. So that's low Earth orbit. And our space station will be there. Then there are other orbits. There's geostationary orbit, there's moon orbits, Mars orbit, and in different orbit. But it's the most accessible one. It's the first orbit where you can be in space permanently.
Thanks again to VAST CEO Max Hott and Ashley Mastronardi for that interview.